Well, it's great to see you. Welcome to day 2 of Gateway's Easter devotionals. My name is John Ng. I'm the campus pastor at Gateway Pflugerville, and we're really excited to go after the idea of the temple today. The temple throughout the scriptures is imagined as a place where we declare God's reign and we also invite God's presence to dwell among us. And you see, our human hearts really yearn to connect with God unhindered without any limitations. And so we see within the Old Testament, when God delivered his people out of Egypt and out of slavery, that he made his dwelling among them, first through the tabernacle as they traveled through the wilderness towards the promised land. But then eventually we see the building of a physical temple. And this temple was meant to be a place where people would connect with God, confess their need for him, their mistakes, their sins, the ways that they've turned away from him, and also where they could be real with their life and their questions and doubts. Alongside of that, we saw that there was an entire movement of priests who would serve at the temple and serve the community. They would make sacrifices once a year, for example, to atone for the sins of an entire nation, for their entire people. Now, fast forward into the New Testament, the Bible then shows us that Jesus comes here on earth to be the true living temple. He lives among us, and in John 1:14 we read this: "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth." This Jesus is now the living temple, the one who died on the cross for you and me to take away our sin, our shame, and our death. And then he declares victory over all of those things by rising again on the third day, on Easter, what we celebrate. And he becomes our true temple, but also our high priest. We no longer have to have anyone do rituals or make sacrifices because Jesus is the one true sacrifice. And he invites us actually to be living temples ourselves, to be filled by the Holy Spirit, and then to embody God's gospel and the kingdom into our broken world that is so in need of his healing and his justice. And so today we want to invite you to really go back into the app, reflect on some of the next steps and opportunities where you can get to grow and explore more around what it looks like to be a living temple here in our broken world, to abide in God's Spirit. So be blessed, and we hope to see you tomorrow.